to the Daily Review. Listen for Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is August 14, 2023, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the market's really just drifting lower. And again, we are in low volume kind of atmosphere. We are trading summer, and this is the heart of it. So just expect it. Now, there's no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the Australian dollar just trickle lower after it's on its supportish level. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones remains unchanged while the NASDAQ drifting lower as well. Now when we look at commodities, gold remains unchanged while oil retracing after hitting that resistance-ish level. Now looking at the stocks, NVIDIA did sell off. That was the biggest one that sold off. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. I'm going to start with the Australian dollar, and you can see we're at 64.75, which we're breaking lower high of this 64.80-ish level. Now that's not a big deal. I do agree with that, but it is breaking it. And if it does continue this little momentum on the downside, we could hit our next supportish level at 62.66, which would be a big deal. Now the balance of the major pairs are really not trading with that much volume and that much volatility, so I'm not going to cover it. But jumping into gold, let's take a look at it. It really is just flatlining at this area, which is supportish area. So if there's going to be a bounce, this would be it. I mean, look at that. We have all three moving averages almost just leveled to a straight line. Now jumping into crude oil, this becomes a little bit more interesting as it hit that resistance level last week. We said it and we highlighted it. It's a multi time frame resistance, which meant that it was much more meaningful, and we did retrace from that 84 to 82. Now it's not a big sell-off, it is a retracement, so just be aware of that. And we're still way ahead of the 30-day moving average, so this is still relatively strong until it proves to us that it's not. Okay, it hasn't proved to us that it's not. Even though it's below the 8-day moving average, it still needs to break down lower for us to really feel that it's changing character. Now jumping into the US markets, okay, the Dow Jones remains unchanged, okay, just flatlining here. And you can see that clearly when we're looking at a 4-hour chart. However, looking at the NASDAQ, we're looking at a 4-hour chart is a different story. We are retracing, we're trickling lower, and that's reflecting mostly because the tech stocks are retracing. So looking at the one that retraced the most, let's take a look at NVIDIA hitting 408. Now this is supportish level at 406, so just be aware of it, that we may get a bounce here, and if we do, that's going to be significant information for us. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now looking at the other majors, they are drifting lower, but not significantly because they're on low volume. Okay, if we look at Microsoft, which we're looking at right now, Facebook also retracing just to 301, which is a decent retracement from its 324 high. And remember, okay, this is how far we've gone here on Facebook. If we look at a weekly, that's a little bit better. You could see how far we've gone, and this is probably the most significant retracement since we've had this massive upwards momentum, almost vertical move all the way from $96 to 325-ish level. Okay, so this has been a tremendous run for Facebook as well. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, day to day we're really unchanged when we look at Bitcoin. I mean, it's just, if we look at a weekly chart, let's take a look at it. I mean, that is flatlining. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks that we've been in such a tight range, okay, between 31,000 and 29,400. So that's been a very tight range for Bitcoin. I think almost the longest it's been in such a tight range. I mean, let's highlight this, okay? I want you to see this so you can see it and you see what I mean, okay? Look at that. That is its range. I mean, even from here to here, it was doing much more. Okay, the only other time it was trading in such a tight range was probably here. And that is just significant because it's kind of giving us, there's no buyers, there's no sellers. It just is, okay? So there's not much character to an asset that's doing something like this. So focus yourself and do yourself a favor. Focus on things that are trading, like oil, like some of the stocks that we've been mentioning. So I cover it just because, they asked me to cover it because it's a cryptocurrency and it has all the, flashing lights and everybody's excited to trade Bitcoin. But right now, it's not trading so much. So be aware of that. Okay, that's my digression today. Thank you for joining us for the daily review. We'll see you here tomorrow. God bless everybody.